Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So this is my first ever speed build video and yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for watching. In today's video, I'm building a multifunctional lot in StrangerVille. I'm going to be building multiple businesses on this lot so that there's going to be tons of uses and activities for your Sims to do. And this lot was originally 8 Bells Bar. As you can see, I'm moving all of the build items into a smaller space so that I can save a room with all of the necessary items for the 8 Bells lot, because I want to still keep that vibe that I originally had. I like it. It's exactly what I feel like StrangerVille needs. However, the exterior was not to my liking, and I feel like it just needed to be better. So my whole goal with this lot, this build, was I want to keep the lot type the same so that it doesn't interfere with the StrangerVille storyline, but I want to improve on it. I want to enhance it so that it's more useful to gameplay. And so I was like, okay, of course I gotta build a multifunctional lot. And I love me some multifunctional lots. I've built so many of them. It's just like we have so few lots in the game already. It just makes sense to make lots that have various uses. Plus, this way you don't really have to worry about seeing a ton of load screens because you don't have to go to a different lot in order to do multiple things. So on this side, what I'm creating right now is a building that is multi-purpose. So the first floor, I want it to be some type of restaurant, and then the second floor, I want it to be like office space. But you know, The Sims, you don't really have like a designated office space for different careers. So one of my goals with my own save file is to have a bunch of different offices in each world so that when you do work from home, you have a place to go to work from home to really make it feel like you're working, but inside of your actual neighborhood. And on the third floor, I have a photo studio and a empty room, which once you download it, you start doing gameplay, you're like, oh, okay, I need this thing in StrangerVille. Now you have a space for it that you don't have to like think too hard about. So if you want to, you know, have your sim become a tech guru and they need their own techie office space, there you have it. Or if you want them to be a painter and have their own like art studio, there's a room for that now. So yeah, I built this exterior based on a old building I found an image on Pinterest of, and I just fell in love with it, and I was like, I have to recreate this in The Sims. It's like a black and white photo. I'll show an image of it on the screen, and yeah, I'll also link it below so that you know you can see my sources. It's loosely based on this building because you know the build items that are used for, not build items, I guess, the architectural windows and doors and those types of things, they're kind of similar, but they're definitely not exactly the same. So you know, don't don't take my my recreation too seriously. But the vibes are there. It has the exact same vibe of this building and the bones of it. I always use reference photos because I feel like it keeps me on track with having a cohesive build and architecture style, because sometimes I'll just be making stuff and it comes out kind of crazy. I really let my creativity flow though. But this image that I'm showing you right now, it's of the Providence branch of Bryant and Stratton National Business College. So that was a school that actually welcomed women and Civil War veterans, and it was actually chartered in 1863. This building is like super old. And they've since moved the university to their own like full campus. So I'm not even sure if this building still exists. Like I really wanted to find what this building looks like now so that I could create a version of it that is more modern. But I really love this old vibe, and the whole idea of StrangerVille is that it was like a town built in the 1800s. It's seen better days, but like people still live there and they kept the places up, but they don't have a lot of new construction. And I really like that this build is really, it really shows that it was built a long time ago with this architectural design. And I feel like it really matches the rest of the world in terms of those other shell buildings. So I was like, yes, I love this. I gotta keep building in this style because I had so much fun with it, and it was a little bit difficult trying to, figure out how to exactly match that vibe that I want. I want this building to feel like it's been there for ages. So that's why instead of having it be all white, I made a lot of the stone have this kind of like sepia, like dingy look. Like it hasn't been power washed or anything like that. And I noticed that the ground in Strangerville is this yellowy sand color. So I tried to incorporate that in the build and make sure that things looked a little bit yellowed, and it's been through some stuff. But at the same time, I wanted to feel like they did try to keep the building up. So maybe they repainted the first floor level, even though they didn't, keep up with the facade of the higher levels, because obviously that requires more work. You need a ladder and stuff. But yeah, and then this other bar, I feel like it was a later addition to the building or to the street. And so it's been added on to the side of the building, and it's a little bit newer. Like you can tell the wood is not as like damaged, I guess, and the trim is a little bit cleaner looking. The exterior on the Eight Bells bar hasn't been as worn down by the the sands of time. Oh my gosh, that phrase works so well with the situation too, because it's like such a sandy world. um yeah, so in at this point I'm trying to build in an architectural style that makes sense to the neighborhood and trying to match the like aesthetic. So I did find another photo on Pinterest, of course, of a bar that is like in this similar kind of style, and it was actually really funny to me because it's not like an actual photo. It's like a photo of a replica that someone else has made and is selling. So I'm gonna link that as well. And I just used like a, that as kind of a reference. It is very, very loosely referenced in this build. And I did have a lot of issues with glitches in terms of like the columns and freezes and other little things when I was trying to build the exterior. And so I ended up making this like not a full room, which worked out because I wanted to be able to access the roof anyway. So I needed to have like the walls be open at some point in order to add a stairwell or stairs. I just added on a ton of different like architectural details onto the exterior to make it feel more like an actual building instead of just like, a shell. And a lot of the buildings I noticed have like pipes and power like sources and different little things that just make it feel like it's actually being used. So I tried to incorporate those types of things on the exterior. And signage, of course, it's a bar, so it's like it's gonna have some sort of like LED signage on the windows and on the walls. My building style is so like sporadic. Like I'll look at things, I'm like, oh, I need to add this here, I need to add that there. And so I'm not just like, building one place at a time, kind of just moving around a lot. I need to work on that. But I really just wanted to make this feel like it's a frequented establishment. So adding on those parking barriers so that like people don't get run over by a car, and yeah, just making it feel realistic. Also, I was at this point looking for a back access stairwell like they have on those buildings right next door in the alleyway, and I could not for the life of me find that item. Even through like searching the entire debug and live edit list, I finally gave up and I was like, okay, I'll make a fire escape myself. And so that's what I am attempting right now. It worked out, but I did run into a lot of glitches because they have changed the stair railings pretty recently. So it disappears when you're close to, or not close to, when you're actually touching the stairs against a fence or a wall, which sucks because I really like the fact that it disappears when it's next to a wall, so that like, the railings are not cutting through the wall. But having the railings remove after it touches a fence makes this issue happen that you're gonna see. I'm trying to move it around because I'm like, where is the railing? But every time I move it, the railing shows up, and then I finally realized, oh, it's because it's touching a fence. I will complete my railing rant. I will complete my railing rant at that. And I also, you won't see this, but I changed the ceiling color underneath the fire escape to make it match, so it's not white. So when you look up, it's gonna be that same metallic color. And yeah, I'm just working on the layout at this point. I had like such a good idea of what I want the layout to feel like and how I want this building to flow. My one concern was like, well, I had a bunch of concerns. Obviously, building will require you to have a lot of concerns because everything has to flow perfectly in order for these sims to get through it and function properly. But I wanted to have like a storage access for like large shipments and stuff, which require one of those garage doors. The garage door is not functional, which I prefer because like, why would sims be like walking in through the garage anyway? At this point, when I'm building the layout, I really wanted to have a restaurant in this spot. So I was using a lot of the Dine Out items, and those started glitching on me so bad. I think it's because I had my like computer running for like 4 hours at that point, maybe 3. But my things kept on disappearing when I moved the room around. And it wasn't securely latching on to, like, the couch wasn't securely latching onto the table, and the table would randomly disappear. And yeah, I was getting really frustrated at that point. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and save and take a deep breath, and maybe even I think I just closed my computer, let it cool down for a bit. But yeah, at this point I was like, okay, I realized this layout's not really working. I need more space for things to like actually fit the way I want, because I want this restaurant to have its own fully stocked kitchen, even though like I'm probably not going to use it that much. But then I started thinking about functionality of the build, and you can't have a functional restaurant on a bar lot type because we don't have multifunctional lots like in that way, in that sense. So I was like, okay, maybe this isn't gonna work. And I was like, okay, let me just keep building it, maybe I'll figure something out. And switching around the layout and stuff so I can get enough bathrooms and into this space. But at the end of the day, I realized, oh shoot. I'm trying not to curse. But I realized the new it is a kitchen stuff pack, but the new chef stuff pack came out. So it's called the Home Chef Hustle stuff pack. I absolutely love this stuff pack because I've already like played with it a little bit, and it fully functions. I didn't see any glitches, which is like, I feel like I'm always that one person who gets all of the glitches no matter what. So I'm really, really satisfied with that stuff pack. And yeah, definitely worth the money. I feel like so happy to be able to say that too, because usually I'm like, oh, I can't believe this thing didn't work, that thing didn't work, oh, this thing glitched. But like, for a rare time in the recent years, oh my god, it's so crazy, years, it's been playing this game too long. But yeah, like it was so worth the money for me. And yeah, at this point I've been working on this kitchen slash like back of house area for the restaurant for quite a while, and yeah, I'm just gonna say it's a lot of changes being made on that one. Oh, this is when I was actually fixing the ceiling, so I guess you will get to see that part. So when you're in live first person mode, you don't have to worry. All the ceilings, they look good. They're not just that stark white random ceiling color. And now I'm adding on the exterior doors so you can actually use the fire escapes, which I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's better to remove those doors or somehow close off access to the fire escape, because I don't like when I'm in regular gameplay and they just use these like random routes that you wouldn't usually use in normal like everyday life. Like, you're not gonna go to a restaurant using the fire escape. Like, you're gonna walk in through the front door. But you know, it's good just in case there is a fire. And this is The Sims, so you know there's gonna be a fire at some point on this lot. I have changed the colors on the exterior so many different times, just like playing around with it, trying to figure out, okay, this color works, that color works. And I remember I changed the exterior doors and windows to like the brown and green swatch of them, and I love that swatch, but I'm gonna have to use it on a different build because yeah, it just, the white looks better on this build. But anyway, in terms of this layout, it's pretty much functioning exactly the way I wanted to at this point. I did realize there was an issue with like the bathroom layout, and so there's going to be a few more changes, but it's pretty much done. And yeah, so I started thinking about the what is that called? The color scheme and also the functionality of the restaurant, and I was just not satisfied with it. I'm messing around with it at this point, but I'm starting to think at this point like, yeah, no, I need to change it. So I was like, got fed up and moved on to the bar. And I placed the room that I had saved at the beginning of this video so that, you know, it's way faster and easier to rebuild the 8 bells bar. That's a tongue twister. I feel like I've said like at least 3 tongue twisters today. The 8 bells bar was really, really easy for me to just like place because everything was already picked out for me. I just had to find a place for the different items. And I really wanted to have like the same type of walkthrough that you have from a dive bar. But I realized obviously this dive bar is really tiny. It's extremely small, but it's a small town as well, so it works. And having the bar be this small means that the Sims that get loaded onto the lot are going to go to different areas of the build and not just stay right in front of the bar, which I was like, oh, I love that. And in playtesting, it worked out wonderfully. Like, when I tell you this is one of the most functional, multifunctional lots that I've built, I was so impressed because not only do the Sims, you know, go to the bar, they get drinks and stuff, they also go to every other room that's in this lot except for the 3rd floor photo studio, because first off, the routing is just really far going up all those stairs. But secondly, like they don't have the settings to want to take photos because it's a bar, so they're not gonna like go up and like take photos in the photo studio, which is better because if you're actually playing as a photographer and you go to that photo studio, it's gonna feel like it's your own privately owned photo studio. So that's just another additional perk of this lot. And in terms of like the 2nd floor office area, they used that office space so much. It was actually surprising. Like I did a couple of, or no, not even a couple. I did a few days of playtesting, and these military officers were going to work with their full-on uniform, and it really felt like it was like an actual military office space, or like maybe they had like rented out the space while they're investigating the StrangerVille mystery. And absolutely chef's kiss, because they would just be like out there just doing their thing, going on the computer, working, and it really just felt like, okay, I did something with this. Here is when I finally was like, it's time. I placed down the Home Chef Hustle pizza stand, and then I was just trying to figure out layout wise, how am I going to get this to work? How am I going to get it to fit in without making it like still look like a food stall? Like somebody just set it up in 15 minutes and was ready to go. And I do like how it's not super fancy, so it gives that hometown vibe that I was looking for. And I really wanted this to work. I really wanted to make this work, and I did in the end, and it looks so good in the end. I was so freaking proud of that. I was like, oh my god, yes. But there's a lot to be changed because the original diner that I had set up, it's yellow. It does not match the pizza vibe. We're going for traditional pizzeria. It's been there forever. It's been passed down in the family for generations. Nothing has changed. And yellow booths would not last throughout the years. However, the red, it may. And I really just kind of drew from like different pizzerias that I've been to, and I tried to think about what their interiors look like, and they're really dark and they're vibey. They got some like moody lighting, and have chandeliers and random photos of random celebrities who've been there, and posters of, you know, movies and things. So I was like, okay, I'll get through the build by catalog and add those types of things. At this point, I was just trying to place the stall in an area that looked like it was like the checkout counter, and have it be more of like a self-service type of pizzeria, because I have seen a lot of those here in Chicago where you just go up and buy one slice at a time, and it's a great addition to the neighborhood when I have one nearby. I used to, oh my god. I'm not allowed to live near any pizza places that sell pizza by the slice. That's all I have to say. But yeah, and then I was adding on to the kitchen. I think the one thing that I forgot at this time was to add the mixer. So I added that after playtesting. But otherwise, the kitchen is pretty much exactly the same from when I was playtesting it. I made sure that I added a door underneath the stairs, because one thing I noticed is sometimes I get a glitch where they spaz out while going up and down the stairs and somehow land beneath the stairs. And then with this type of enclosed stairwell, they get stuck and they can't get out. And it's like a whole thing. It's a situation, and they starve to death. It's like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. But they're stuck underneath a stairwell with no way out. So I added a door behind the stairwell, and then I moved those boxes over. But yeah, long story short, I made it flow. I made it so that your sim will not get stuck under the stairs and die. Other than that, oh my gosh. So now I'm moving on to the second floor and trying to make sure that this stairwell works out, and that it has the proper lighting, and that the Sims can actually walk up and down the stairs without, you know, any routing issues. And my whole plan for this is I want to have a lobby area where you enter this part of the building and someone directs you to the proper room that you're supposed to be in, and have like a waiting type of room with a little kitchenette in it, so that the people who have bought these other offices on these higher level floors have somewhere where they can, you know, take their lunch break or heat up their coffee. My one issue that I had with this lobby area is that I feel like it's too monotone. I feel like they need some more like pop of color, and it's just kind of, it's cool and calm but boring in a way. I don't know, maybe not, maybe you might think it's nice. I think I just am so used to having so much color, and then the other bar area has such vibrant colors, and downstairs has the bright red. So this like neutral tone theme has an interesting contrast. Yeah, I really liked having this area where my Sims could just come and chill out, especially when it comes to like my Sim that I have who does the home chef hustle career as a pizzeria owner. In that first level, when I had her playtesting, she would get so tired at the end of her shift, and I was like, oh, I can just have her go upstairs and get some coffee. It's like she doesn't even have to go all the way home to, like, you know, have her little lunch and be away from the customers for a minute. So it was a nice, really like convenient area to have. And right here I'm like sizing the counter down a little bit so that it doesn't, you know, glitch or merge together with the other one. It was kind of odd how they don't have like an actual true half cabinet that you can use. Also, I wanted to mention that I used the front desk, which is a counter height desk that came with the Get to Work expansion pack. And there's some modders out there who have created a front desk mod, which just allows a Sim to spawn as a receptionist at that front desk spot. So if you download that mod, this is gonna feel even more realistic. I've really sped through this office area because it kind of made itself. I just already really knew what I wanted for that area, and it's really reflected in that speed at which I built that. But yeah, I also was coming back down here to the pizzeria to make sure that I've adjusted every little thing and made sure all the little minute details are set up properly. And I wanted to have a changing table off of that dining area because I feel like people would bring their families to the spot. So this actually turned out to be Aurelia's pizzeria, and Aurelia is the sim that I made to playtest this, and I just kind of fell in love with her storyline, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna end up actually playing with her. So yeah, I really like customized her and actually started to like build her apartment in this world, and that will be my next video. But yeah, look forward to that. It was so much fun playing as her doing the playtesting because, you know, she has this like storyline of being a home chef, but at the same time she has that location, so she doesn't end up spending a ton of money on the location and paying bills and rent on that spot, because I imagine her to be the actual owner of this building. She's inherited this building from through generations and their family, and so she actually breaks even with all of her expenses being covered for the building, like her property taxes and any other maintenance fees and, you know, little random things that come up like fixing the roof, I don't know. So all of that is covered from these tenants renting out the other spaces on the top floors. And it was just so much fun thinking like, okay, Aurelia is gonna really just run this building. She meets all the locals and she starts to get to know all the military officers that come in and out of the bar establishment next door, and also they stop by to get pizza whenever she's selling pizza. And then she's made so many friends just from like coming to work. I feel like if I decide to play the StrangerVille storyline as her, it would be so immersive because a lot of the storyline involves getting to know different StrangerVille townies and meeting with the scientists and the military officers, and so she will already have that relationship built up with them from just her everyday work, so that makes those tasks a lot easier to accomplish. Yeah, it's just wonderful to play with her. Also, when it came to like these office spaces, because they've got so crowded with military members and just like a few everyday dressed townies, it really made it feel like this office building is a hub for the military. And that in itself is also just really cool because like when you're in StrangerVille, there's a bunch of military officers just randomly walking around, but you'll see them at the library for some random reason. Like, I don't know why they would just be frequenting the library like that, but I could definitely see them frequenting a bar, restaurant, and office space. Like, that just makes so much more sense. And yeah, just having this be multifunctional means that like if I wanted to play as a military officer and work from home, I could do like paperwork at this office space. And same thing with like a scientist. But I could also even work from home as something completely different in that empty space and just wing it, you know? And that's one of the best reasons to have a multifunctional lot in The Sims. It's just like, it's so much more convenient. I can't stress this enough how much I freaking love these types of builds, because when I'm in gameplay, like I do not want to see a loading screen. It's so like it breaks the immersion so much. But anyway, let me get off this tangent because I could go forever about this one. I'm just so excited to like actually play through some storylines in this. Anyway, the layout for the third floor is pretty self-explanatory, and it was honestly the easiest part of this build. And at this point, I'm just kind of figuring out the last minute touches, adding some extra items on the outside of this lot just to make it feel like it flows more, because why doesn't this connect to the sidewalk? Like, I always hate when lots do that. But anyway, it didn't make sense, but it would make sense if I add some like outdoor seating, so I did that. And yeah, done. Thanks for watching. I've included a tour at the end of this video, so enjoy.
a bath. Emka.
Venuza.
Oh,
Afresh
Hishinoi.
Chalky.